Well, welcome back to the Piney Woods Homestead, y'all. We thought it was time to do a
garden tour.
That's right, 2023 garden tour, y'all. A lot of stuff's coming up already, other than the plants Lisa had put in. So we're going to take you around, show you the in-ground gardens, and also show you the deep raised beds. Guys, thanks for stopping in at the Piney Woods. Hit that old like and subscribe if you haven't, and if you have, as always,
we appreciate you.
We do, guys. We'll show you what we got going on.
The first row is a double row of Ford Hook butter beans, and I did have to come through and replant this section right here. You can see one coming up actually right there. The seeds were completely gone, so either, pretty sure the seeder dropped them. I think maybe a bird or something stole, just because it was just this one section. But the rest of them are coming up, came up good, and then these are starting to feel back on in.
Could have been operator error.
Well, yeah, it could have been. Yeah, they're coming up now. The ones that I came back through with. Yep.
These are the Ford Hook. It's a big lima.
Yeah.
There's one coming up right there.
Yep. There's two coming up right there. And the Ford Hook is a good variety for hot and humid climates. They'll still set their beans. They won't drop their flowers. So hopefully these will do good. We normally plant Henderson, but with the heat and humidity that we get here, I wanted to try this variety. So we'll see how it goes.
That's a good looking double row, 125 feet long. And for the most part, it's full, and there's still a few coming up. On this next double row are Dixie butter peas. You see these down here? Dixie butter peas. We've never actually planted them before, but my dad was telling me that his parents planted them every year, I believe, in their garden. So looking forward to having something a little bit different than a butter bean, more of a butter pea, a rounder pea. So this one came up excellent. I think it was about
it was the first that came up.
Probably close to 100% germination. Yeah. And so they look really, really good.
And both of these are a bush, so we won't have to worry about them completely taking over the whole entire garden.
We'll be picking them just like this, all the way down the road.
Y'all heard him, he said we.
Yep, we.
And then we have a double row of October beans. I think up north they're referred to as cranberry beans. They're actually sold as a Topazio bean from Haas Tools is another name for them, but they're an horticulture bean. Very similar in flavor to pintos, but much better. And you see this one won't be far from blooming. They do great in heat and drought. We grew them last year, we loved them, so we wanted a whole lot more of them this year. Then on this row, there's several different crops. These are transplants of regular zucchini, a golden zucchini, saffron squash, which is a yellow smooth squash, and then several plants of crookneck. And then I have went on down and am succession planting, so I direct seeded some slick pick, which is a regular yellow squash, but it's smooth and straight, and then another round of the crookneck, and then in a couple more weeks I'm gonna plant again that same variety.
And y'all, the reason that she is succession planting like she is, or keeping a new crop coming on, is so that we have squash all summer long. And we've got something a little bit exciting this year that we're going to share with you as time goes on. So stick with us for something interesting that's going to take place here on the Piney Woods.
And on the Portanova netting, I'm trellising a little, I think there's half straight 8, which is a slick skin slicing cucumber. And then the other part, I think there was 6 of those, and then 5 Max Pack, which is a good all-purpose, primarily for pickling. It's got that pickle and cucumber look to it. But it's got a great disease resistance package. The straight 8 is an heirloom. So we've got a little bit of both. But then I have went back through and started seeds for more of the Max Pack. The one thing with the Max Pack is I have found, and I've grew them for a couple of years now, they are extremely slow to germinate. So these that have came up, I have went back in the spots where they didn't and have went ahead and put more seeds. So hopefully between the 2 to 3 that are in the blank spaces, they'll start popping up now too. And then this whole entire, how long is this road?
125 feet.
All but just a little bit of the 125 feet, and I'll show you what's at the end of it after we get through here, is all of our peppers. There's 2 poblanos, and then the rest are jalapenos, 2 or 3 different varieties of jalapenos, and 2 varieties of bell peppers, as well as a section of the Hungarian stuffing pepper that tastes very similar to a bell, and there's 3 different varieties of those. And I do have to come through today and get my first run of Florida Weave Tennessee Tangle on here, because they're ready. They need that first run. The biggest culprit that we have down here in the in-ground garden, we don't have them up in the raised beds, is flea beetles. And the way you can tell, you will see these tiny little holes right here. And they're usually found on the back side, but a lot of times they're on the top too. They jump like a flea, but I go through whenever I see them and I hand pick them, and we have sprayed. I also, can't tell now because I've watered, but I go around the base of the plants and just do a light sprinkling of diatomaceous, and that really helps to control them as well. And I did the same thing for the tomatoes, because they like nightshade. They like peppers, eggplants, tomatoes. And the majority of this row is my indeterminates. So I have a few heirlooms, the Boxcar Willie and the Kellogg's Breakfast, just a few German Johnson, and then a Lemon Boy, which is, it's not an heirloom, but it is an indeterminate. And then the last maybe quarter of this row was a few determinate varieties that I didn't have room for on the cattle panels. And y'all, if you've seen our previous videos, we opted not to do the cattle panels for my indeterminates. One, we didn't have enough cattle panels and they're ridiculously expensive. And honestly, they work good for indeterminates, but the indeterminates will still outgrow them. So this year we have, what is the gauge? Wire.
High tensile steel.
It's high tensile steel. I would not recommend this with just like a thin wire whatsoever, because these plants are going to get heavy. And then I have tomato twine that I have looped over, so it's doubled. And then I just have it tied to, so I've got this double line of
poly.
Tomato twine is what it's called. And then I've just got it triple knotted on a large oversized landscape staple. I think these are 6-inch. You can get them up to 12-inch, and I thought 6 we're going to try this year. It's still, you want something that goes at least a good ways down in there to where it's going to stay anchored in, at least in our soil here. So far it's holding well. The only thing I have went through, and I'm training the stem around the twine, but what I am letting these do to get a better yield is to let them have 2 coming off. So the twine has started around the main stem, and then 2 plants essentially coming up. And the only thing I may have to do is go back through, we'll see, and put another string for each side with a staple instead of just one, just because it may get a little bit too far out. But this twine will not break. It's very sturdy. It's hard to cut as well, but so far I really like doing it like this. And I've just got the tomato clips, which clip to the string, and then they go around the stem too. And the last part, little section here of the pepper row, is my dwarf sunflower varieties. There's 2 different ones, but they'll only get about 3 feet tall. And 2 purposes with these. 1, because I love, well, 3, because I love sunflowers, and I wanted to have them for cut flowers, as well as some flowers in here for the pollinators. And I've also done a few interplanting of things with different flowers to help with pests, to help bring in more pollinators. So I've got nasturtiums, like right here, planted, as well as marigolds throughout the garden, and I've got dill planted around my cucumbers. And then this row, as well as the upper row, are all of my determinate tomatoes. I think half this row is Shelby, half of it is red snapper, and up there is Bella Rosa and Halcinators.
And more flowers.
And more flowers, yeah. These are a Benary Giant zinnia. And then I've got a patch of Queen Series zinnias outside of the garden. And then I did this whole section right here. I put string around it so I wouldn't be walking through here until they came up. But this whole section is more nasturtium. And this is the Alaska mix, which is there's 2 different types of nasturtiums. One stay kind of in a mounding bush, and the other is a vining. So these are, the Alaska mix is a bush variety. And then in the new addition to the garden, we've got 3 rows of okra. 2 varieties. These 2 rows are both Clemson spineless, and then this back here is red burgundy. And our weather has been crazy. We're normally really hot by now. We're still pretty chilly, and the nights have been getting down in the upper 40s, low 50s. So okra really comes up better. The soil is warm enough, but it comes up better when it's hot overall. So these have just now started to come up good. We'll have to go through and thin them. This second row of the Clemson spineless, not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure if it's due to the weather, but the rest of these now are coming up. So we may have to go back through and re-sow some of those. But overall, hopefully we're going to have a whole lot of okra. And then the last 2 rows up here are double rows of Blue Lake bush green beans, and they've all came up for several-year-old seed. We've got about 100% germination, so it's done really well. And the last patch that we have down here in the in-ground garden are my sangria watermelons. And I've got tomato cages over these simply because we normally plant this patch with sunflowers. The deer love them. We did put up a strand of electric, but I put these over them just until they get big enough to where the deer wouldn't come through and chomp the tops off of them. But we did plant them sunflowers as a buffer. twice.
Yeah.
They've been planted twice, and the birds have, I think they have stolen every single one of them both times. I don't see any sunflowers. So I do have some started in trays because I got tired of them stealing them. So I'm just going to transplant some out at this point.
Y'all, I know that we told you we'd show you the raised beds, but I was just telling Lisa, I said, if we do that, it's just going to make a long video. And
I think it's because I get so excited about my plants that I talk too
she
long
does.
about them.
She does. Yeah, you're good at talking about all the stuff you got growing.
Yeah.
You can tell that somebody loves something when they talk about it, y'all. Guys, so we appreciate you hanging out with us at the Piney Woods, and we're going to bring you more garden videos. We'll fill you in on some surprises going on here in the next month or two, and we hope you have a good day. Huh?
We'll do the raised bed video.
We'll do it soon.
Yeah, soon.
We'll do it soon.
For
But
beds.
guys, yeah, soon. Soon to us may not be soon to y'all. Y'all have a good day, a great week. We'll see you on the next one. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise too high.